guys. We're technically still in the same section that we were in last week, 8-3 multiplying binomials, but we're going to up the stakes a little bit this week, and we're not just going to multiply binomials, we're going to be multiplying trinomials, polynomials, any size problem that we want. In today's video, I'm just going to do one example where we make our box a little bit bigger than what it was last week. We did a lot of 2x2 boxes last week, but that's not the only size that we can work with. The beauty of the box method is that we can adjust the size of the box based on the original problem. So here is our example for today. I'm going to be multiplying 3x plus 1 times x squared plus 2x minus 6. This is a binomial times a trinomial. So since I have a binomial and a trinomial, I need to make a 2x3 box. It does not matter which direction is 2 and which direction is 3. You can make the 2 along the side or going down. It doesn't matter. One side has to have 2, one side has to have 3. What does matter is what you line up along each side. So I do have to line up my binomial, my 3x plus 1, along the side that only has 2 boxes. I don't want to put the 3x plus 1 up here because then I'll have an extra box. And then I'll have to start borrowing things from the other parentheses, and that's not good. And then I'll take my trinomial and I'll break it up across those top 3 boxes. Notice, don't really usually write the plus signs, but if something was being subtracted, I do write it as a negative. From last week, we learned that to fill in the box, we're doing multiplication. So I'm going to multiply for this first box right here. It's on the first row and the first column. So I will be multiplying 3x times x squared. When you're multiplying variables together, you add the exponents. So for the letter x, I'm going to add this invisible 1 with this 2, and I'll get an x to the third. And then for my coefficients, I only had the number 3, so it stays the number 3. I like to fill out the entire top row first. It's not required that you do it in that order. That's just my personal preference. So next I'll be going to the second box, which is on the first row and the second column. So I will be multiplying the 3x with the 2x. 3 times 2 is 6 for my coefficient. And then for my variables, I add my exponents. An invisible 1 plus another invisible 1 is 2. So 6x squared. Finishing off that top row, I'm still again in the first row, and now I'm in the third column. So I will be doing 3x times negative 6, and that gets me a negative 18x. Moving down to the second row. In the second row, I'm going to do the 1, and then in this first box, I'll multiply it by the x squared. That's just x squared still. In fact, all of these are just going to be multiplied by 1, so they're all just going to stay the same. So 1 times 2x is 2x. And then 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. Now, just like last week, we are going to look on the diagonals, plural this time, for our like terms. I do want to point out that along each row and down each column, our exponents are in descending order. So we have x to the third, x squared, x to the first, and then working our way down. Also, it's x to the third, x squared, x to the first, and our constant. So, you can look for those patterns. You can look for your like terms along the diagonals, and we're just going to kind of snake our way through to write our final answer. For our final answer, we do want to write this in standard form. So we'll be starting with the largest exponent, which will always be in the top left-hand corner, 3x to the third. When we're pulling things out of the box, we are adding. Now, adding has different rules than multiplying. When we are adding, we do not touch the exponents. We only add the coefficients. So in this first grouping, I'm going to add the 6 with the invisible 1 right here. 6 plus 1 is 7. And I'm going to keep this an x squared. I don't change my variables, just add the coefficients. In my next grouping, I will be adding the negative 18 and the 2, and that'll turn into a negative 16. And again, I just keep my letter x the same. And then we'll finish up with our constant, and the constant will always be in the bottom right-hand corner. So my final answer for this problem is 3x to the third plus 7x squared minus 16x minus 6. Standard form, descending order. That's it for today. Your homework tonight is going to have binomials and trinomials, so make sure you're drawing the correct size box and that you're showing your work on your paper. I'll see you tomorrow.